$10,000 ultimate fan cave. What a sweet deal. And your next chance to qualify tomorrow morning, 7:15 on the Dustin Nielsen Show. So tune in. We're getting closer to announcing the winner. Woo-hoo. Be like, imagine that. You just sit down, you're middle of the playoff, and all of a sudden, boom, now you're getting renovated. You're getting to upgrade your whole fan cave. Let's get to the racing report brought to you by CanTorque, because they're excited to announce latest addition in their tool series, the mechanical and hydraulic flange spreaders. Powerful, durable, and user-friendly. Contact them for a demo today at cantorque.com. Once again, Colin Livingston joins us, and Colin kind of ho-hum here. Ho-hum, another week in another pole position for Lewis Hamilton. He's claimed his 100th pole. And just kind of give me your thoughts on that, and the race in Spain and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty awesome weekend all around. I mean, the track in Spain, the Barcelona Catalunya track is, it's notoriously difficult to pass on because, same thing as we talk about so many times is there's not a lot of hard braking zones. So, realistically, turn one is about the best place to go, although a couple of drivers made really awesome passes on the outside of turn three. And unless somebody has a major screw up, it's hard to keep up. But another one of these back and forth races that we've been talking about since the beginning of the season, where, Verstappen is getting super, super aggressive on the starts, and, people are calling it good racing. I say it's pretty questionable that, he's getting to the point of, getting a decent launch where he can kind of suck up behind Hamilton. They get to the corner, and Verstappen in a lot of cases is really not making the turn until late into the corner, which is forcing Hamilton wide. He's done this about 3 times this year so far on the opening lap, takes the early lead. It seems like as far as race pace goes, the Mercedes is really starting to catch up. What they did have for an advantage on the straight line, it seems like Red Bull, with this debut of what people are calling the bendy wing, they've really maximized their straight line speed. It'll become a decision for the FIA whether that's a legal device or not. It definitely contravenes what the spirit is, that these aerodynamic parts have to remain stable and they can't be altered, which is why, Mercedes lost what they call the dual axis steering system last year. Really good. I mean, Hamilton is off to his best start in his career. Verstappen's off to the best start in his career, and likely would be leading the championship if Hamilton wasn't such a beast behind the wheel.
Something happened with Verstappen as far as running out of tires. Who is that? Like an error of judgment? Is that a calculated risk? Like how does this happen when it seemed like it was quite important in the outcome?
As we've talked about a few times, over the last bunch of years, these teams have dozens, up to, 50, 60, 70 people working at the track and as well back in their factories that are running simulations and, calculating strategy of, how fast can we go over a period of time? If we pit, where are we going to come out? Like, they're working on all these different scenarios. And when you're leading, you have the advantage of clean air, and you have the advantage of, when you're catching lap cars in Formula One, the FIA, the race director will flash blue flags. You have to, by the third time you see a blue flag, you have to pull over, otherwise you'll be penalized. So the leader has a certain advantage in that respect, but because the tire fall off is a little bit more significant this year, the people who decide to pit first, they get the benefit of new tires where they get to come out. They're going to start running faster lap times. So if you're fairly close on the track, you make an early pit stop, put new tires on. By the time the guy that's leading has the chance to respond, you've closed the gap, and theoretically you've got out in front. So sometimes leading isn't always the best strategy. The trick with these guys is you've also got to be able to if you're not the fastest car, it doesn't really matter. And on Sunday, Mercedes definitely showed that they were the faster car. I mean, Hamilton was keeping in the wake of Verstappen in the second stint. But by the time they decided to turn the race into a 2-stop race, it was too late for Red Bull to respond. And they basically, were relegated to second place. I mean, Hamilton just destroyed Verstappen once his tires were so cooked that he couldn't keep up. Then they had no choice but to pit. They lost the lead, came out like 30 some seconds behind. But I mean, Hamilton ran Verstappen down from like 22 seconds back.
Talking all things racing with the CanTorque Racing Report and Colin Livingston. Colin, flipping over to NASCAR, Martin Truex Jr. Gets another win. Is he kind of in that zone as well when you look at his success recently?
Yeah, I mean, Martin Truex is just one of these all-around great racers. He probably needs to up his game a little bit on road courses, but doesn't matter what style oval, short tracks he's excelled at. Speedways, super speedways, he does really well. Restrictor plate, again, is more of a crapshoot than anything. But last weekend, Joe Gibbs definitely, whatever they figured out for their platform, they did a great job. 3 of their 4 cars finished in the top 5 with, Truex winning, Busch in third place, and Denny Hamlin walking away with the 5th. So, but the track on the weekend, I mean, it's a real anomaly. It's one of the most historic tracks that are out there. With the abrasion, that the surface is so abrasive, the tires fall off so much. It's really, really, really difficult to keep the cars under control. And last weekend, NASCAR ran what they call their 750 package, which is a combination of real high horsepower and lower downforce, which again really, really made the cars difficult. And that's where you also start seeing the better drivers really start to excel in those situations.
Colin Livingston joins us on the Sports Leader TSN 1260. And Colin, we can call it the month of May. Officially kicks off today. You got the Indy Lights practicing on the road course at International Speedway. Then you've got Indycar practicing and qualifying tomorrow, racing on Saturday. It's a pretty busy time leading up to the 500.
Yeah, I mean, man, this is a real awesome time if you're a motorsports fan, especially if you're a fan of open wheel racing. These guys getting to hit the road course here. The road course is adequate. It's definitely nowhere near as special as the oval, but I always go back to my time kicking around in the garage and being around some of these guys, and hopefully people understand what kind of pressure and what kind of workload these teams are under, because they haven't had much time to turn their cars over that they've run the first 3 weekends, 4 races of the season. Now they need to get into Indianapolis mode where they have, the bigger teams will probably have 2 cars prepped, so they'll have their road course car ready to go, and then they'll have their 500 car mostly ready to go. Some of the smaller teams, though, they only have a car and then a backup car, so they need to have their primary car turned over. Road course trim here now. Sunday night they'll start taking the thing apart, and I mean they'll take it down to the chassis. They'll pull their road engine out, or depending on where they're at with the mileage on their engine. Then they got to completely rebuild these things, and they've got 2 days to do it. Hopefully they don't sustain any damage, because that just makes things more difficult. But these guys, I mean, I still remember some of the engineers and crew chiefs we've worked with, and I've seen both extremes where our Canadian buddy Todd Malloy, who was Alex's crew chief, at Brian Herta Autosport. I mean, that guy lived at the track. He would be there first. He would leave, late. He would put in, 16 to 20 hour shifts for 2 straight weeks, just poring over data and making sure that every I's dotted, every T's crossed. And, then I've seen the other side of things where, we had one crew chief, and, I won't say where we were at or what was going on, but I mean, the crew chief would show up, the crew was actually in jeans, which is like unheard of, on pit road. He would leave midday because he wanted to go cut the grass before it rained. And, I think, it's not too hard to predict that, the results weren't so good that year. But yeah, these guys are going to be, super, super, bagged by the end of the 500. And then, even after that, they've only got a few days before they have to be in Detroit for a doubleheader. So, I hope people appreciate the hard work that these guys are all doing, and gals, people, I should say.
Yeah, you know what? It's a super busy time of year. It's pretty exciting, I think, for that. Quickly to the local karting scene, you guys are able to hit the track, but only 5 people maximum at the track at any given time. So is that just 5 drivers are allowed on the course at one time, or does that mean like there's one person overseeing it and then 4 racers? How does it work?
Because we're in testing and practicing mode, we don't have any officials. We're not required to have that. It's 5 people at the facility. So, our group, Off Camber Karters, we run a particular category and we're designated for Wednesdays. And that's the only time we're allowed at the track. The other groups are spaced out, through the rest of the week. But yeah, no, 5 people at the track. Last night we had 3 time slots. I think we started about 2:00 and go till 8:00. But yeah, it was great. I mean, yesterday was a crazy day. I did a full hour of training, trying to lose some of the winter gravy. And, then after a full session, trying to get on the track and turn some laps. I mean, I was able to do just fine because it was just shakedown laps and nothing too serious. But, boy, this morning and through the night, I felt a few karting pains that I forgot about, but they're just great to have.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that, Colin. Best of luck with the workouts, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Sounds good, guys.
Colin Livingston, the CanTorque Racing Report. So good to see you for all the Carters.
Thanks, Colin.
Of course, Connor.
You have a great weekend. Talk to you next week, I guess, eh?
Unless I talk to you sooner.
Unless it's before that. Take care, Colin.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Okay, bye now.